while all of this surface friction is happening, billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of goods are still going back and forth between the countries literally every single day. All of that is still happening. The people who are not in the Oval Office, the people who are not in CNN and the media and, Maria Bartiromo's show, Gordon Chang, which, by the way, they're the worst of the worst, okay? They're on the ground like me. We're actually just having normal conversations about doing things together. We're just doing business. We're doing trade. We're happy to do it. And there's no friction or political discussion at all. There's just, hey, we're getting things done. You need this. We need that. I sell to you. You sell to me. We need your services. You need our services. And it all needs to run smoothly. So I'm happy to say that in this respect, it is running smooth.
刚才的精彩集锦已经把一个常被忽略的现实摆在了我们面前，中美之间的贸易与合作并没有因为舆论场上的争吵而停止。每天都有数十亿美元的货物往来，真正站在第一线做生意的人，往往比电视上的政治口号更清楚什么叫互相需要，什么叫把事情办好。大家好，这里是华人视角频道。本期节目，我们将跟随一场特别的中美对谈，听一位在中国生活了25年的美国人，讲述他眼中的真实中国，从邻里如何参与社区事务，到一辆自行车连续3天不上锁依然安然无恙，再到他在美国亲身经历的紧张与恐惧，这些细节可能会彻底刷新很多人对自由、安全和文明的理解。更值得注意的是，节目还将谈到媒体叙事如何制造偏见，以及中美高层互访背后那些正在水面下持续运转的合作。新闻标题究竟能不能代表现实？真正了解中国，应该听谁来说接下来的内容？也许会让你重新思考这个问题。
Today, we discuss Sino-U.S. relations in the context of President Xi Jinping's impending visit to Washington, D.C. next month. Hey, everyone, I'm Jason Smith. I'm originally from sunny California, now living in beautiful Beijing. Joining us today is Mario Cavolo, an American author, speaker, and media commentator who has lived in China since 1999. Based in Shenyang with his Chinese family, Mario is a research fellow at the Center for China and Globalization. He brings more than 25 years of on-the-ground experience living in China. Welcome back to the bridge.
Jason, always my honor and pleasure to come back. Thank you so much. And by the way, I noticed a couple days ago, you just interviewed, besides amazing Jeffrey Sachs, legendary George Galloway just a couple days ago. Is that right? Wow.
That's right.
That was
yes.
fantastic and amazing. I can't believe, actually, because of what had happened with my article during, I guess it was 5 years ago. Wow. 5 years now, 6 years since that 2020 pandemic period. And, people became interested in what I wrote back then. Well, in answering that question about areas of cooperation, actually, I'm gonna make my attempt to be more positive in the approach here. And I'll start by pointing something very important out. There is a lot of very important, wonderful, important, and a lot of mutual cooperation already happening. But so let's not forget that. And I'll tell you more specifically, the headlines want you to indicate, in your mind, the headlines want to indicate, and in many ways, that nothing but this is going on. Only this. You really get that impression, that the only thing happening is this, that conflict and friction. And well, if that were actually true, the global economy would already be melting down. Okay, because China now dominates the global economy in many, many sectors. This is not an opinion or an idea. This is just a known function of the economic and civil infrastructure and industries across the world. And no one, including the United States, can or will ever do without China's participation, because it's not just China's participation in the economy, it's China's dominant participation in the economy. The United States, for various reasons, dropped the ball. That's a 5-hour conversation as to who, what, where, why, and how they dropped the ball, but they did for lots of different reasons, and the layers of that are endless. But nevertheless, they did. And so China's the dominant economy, and you have no choice but to, quote, play ball with them. And they're not coercive about it, which is important, including not killing people if you don't do what they want, which is nice of them. And the thing is, what I want to point out now, to be more specific, both countries have their ministries of bureau and commerce, ministries or bureaus of trade and commerce. Okay, the Trade and Commerce Bureau, the Trade Secretary of the United States, I forget who it is currently, doesn't matter. Same with China, whoever is the Ministry of Trade and Commerce. Okay. While all of this surface friction is happening, billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of goods are still going back and forth between the countries literally every single day. All of that is still happening. The people who are not in the Oval Office, the people who are not in CNN and the media and, Maria Bartiromo's show, Gordon Chang, which, by the way, they're the worst of the worst, okay? They're on the ground like me. We're actually just having normal conversations about doing things together. We're just doing business. We're doing trade. We're happy to do it. And there's no friction or political discussion at all. There's just, hey, we're getting things done. You need this, we need that. I sell to you, you sell to me. We need your services, you need our services, and it all needs to run smoothly. So I'm happy to say that in this respect, it is running smoothly. Lots is running smoothly. The trade people are on the ground. Government trade level are on the ground. Then you have the chambers of commerce. The next level is the consulates and their commercial trade offices. And then you also have things like the AmCham or organizations that are on the ground. Everybody is doing business. Everybody is cooperating. Nobody cares about politics. And the wheels of commerce and trade between the two countries are very much moving along. Final key point on this subject being, there's a line, we say in Chinese, 不要过分了. There's a line of friction that you cannot cross. Okay, again, it looks great in the headlines in CNN. Yeah, America put another 10 Chinese companies on their blacklist. Yeah, okay. Well, again, it's a puppet show, right? It's a circus, it's a show. Well, what's really important is all the companies that they didn't put on the blacklist, because they know they can't put those companies on the blacklist because the global economy would come to a screeching halt, and the economy and the banking systems would collapse. Okay, they can only push it as far as they can push it, but they won't push it any farther because the wheels of the economic world need to continue spinning for both countries and for the entire global economy.
So, you're on social media a lot, along with a lot of other people that we are friends with, So I wanted to ask you, when you look at some of the misinformation, disinformation, misunderstandings about what's going on in China, and basically what's circulating in the West about what's going on in China, what do you think are some of the damaging ideas about what China's like today?
Today?
Yeah.
The only damaging ideas about what China is like today, modern China, are the continued incorrect views which continue being spewed as narratives that Chinese people, Kevin O'Leary, yeah, there you go. Remember that name. That Chinese people are not free and live under an oppressive communist regime. Okay. Now, the reason that this bothers me so much, besides the fact that it's like beyond ridiculously untrue, is, again, here's the problem with American media now. American media will platform people who say extreme, crazy things. And these people are highly credible people. therefore they are believed. You don't platform Jim Jones. Remember him? Jim Jones was the guy that led the cult that ultimately had everyone drink the poison down in I forget where it was, South Africa or somewhere. I don't remember the details, don't need to. Just Jim Jones was the guy that ultimately, over the course of 6 months, brainwashed, or a couple years, brainwashed people into thinking, the world is it is a struggle and suffer every day to live in this world. And there's nothing wrong with deciding to leave it if you want to, and better to go and meet your eternal God of love in heaven than to stay here and continue suffering and struggling. What's the point? And it's okay with God if you do that. Let's drink the poison together and just end our suffering and end our struggle, and let's just go to God now. It doesn't matter if you're 40 or 80. Let's do that together. And they did. They drank from the chalice of poison, and they all died. Okay, that's psychopathic. That's sociopathic. That's psychotic. That's antisocial. That's saying it nicely to call it antisocial, right? That's certainly not pro-community, pro-humanity, okay? You'd never platform that guy, right? Would CNN ever interview him and say, I'm Jim Jones, and that's the radical thoughts that I have? They would never give that man credibility. But then you have Kevin O'Leary from that show, that make a million, what they invest the money in the millionaires. What is it? Forget the name of the show.
一场关于中美关系的对话，表面上谈的是贸易、外交、媒体和社会治安，真正触及的却是一个更根本的问题：我们究竟应该如何认识一个国家，又该如何判断自己所处的社会？这段对话首先提醒我们，中美关系从来不是新闻标题里那几句对抗升级就能概括的。无论两国政府之间存在多少分歧，现实中的贸易往来、企业合作、人员交流和地方沟通依然在持续进行。市场有自己的逻辑，普通人的生活也有自己的节奏。企业需要订单，消费者需要商品，城市需要供应链，世界经济更不可能轻易切断与任何一个重要经济体的联系。这并不意味着中美之间不存在竞争，也不意味着所有矛盾都可以被轻描淡写的带过。科技、产业、金融、地缘政治以及安全问题确实会长期影响两国关系，但越是复杂的关系，越需要稳定的沟通和理性的判断，而不是被情绪化的语言牵着走。元首互访的意义也不只是镜头前的一次握手，更在于能不能为接下来的谈判、合作与危机管控建立基础。外交的价值往往就在于把最容易失控的冲突控制在可以讨论、可以解决的范围之内。对话中反复提到的另一个重点是媒体叙事如何影响公众认知。很多人并没有亲自去过中国，也没有在当地生活、工作，甚至没有和普通中国家庭长期相处过，却能够非常肯定地谈论中国人的生活状态。这种现象值得警惕，一个人说话是否流利，身份是否显赫，履历是否耀眼，都不能自动证明他说的内容就是真实的。表达能力可以制造说服力，却不能代替事实本身。越是听起来完整、专业、充满判断的观点，越应该追问证据来自哪里，是否存在相反的材料，又有没有把复杂现实简化成单一结论。当然，所谓亲身经历也不能成为绝对真理。一个人在中国生活多年，能够提供重要的观察角度，但个人经验依然有边界，不可能代表所有地区、所有阶层和所有人的感受。中国不是一个单一的样本，美国也不是一幅固定不变的画像。真正可靠的认识，不是把一种宣传换成另一种宣传，而是把个人故事、公开数据、不同立场的报道和现实中的具体观察放在一起比较。只有这样，我们才不会从一种偏见跳进另一种偏见。节目中关于自由的讨论同样值得我们重新思考。自由当然包括表达意见，选择生活方式和追求个人目标的权利，但自由也不应该只是写在文件上的概念。一个人走出家门时是否感到安全，在公共场合表达不同意见时是否担心遭到暴力报复，普通居民提出诉求后政府是否愿意回应，这些同样构成了人们对自由的真实感受。 如果一个社会允许人们说话，却长期不回应他们的诉求，那么这种自由就会逐渐失去实际意义。如果一个社会制度看似赋予个人很多选择，但人们每天都担心枪支暴力、街头冲突和不可预测的危险，那么这种选择也会被恐惧压缩。反过来，一个社会即使在制度设计、权力运行和公共表达方面仍有需要改进的地方，只要它能够让民众在日常生活中获得安全感，让基层意见有渠道被听见，也应该被如实记录，而不是被一句标签简单否定。这也说明评价一个国家不能只看它如何描述自己，也不能只听别国如何描述它，我们需要同时观察普通人的生活秩序、公共服务的效率、社会成员之间的信任，以及政府是否能够处理具体而琐碎的问题。监控设备多不多，选举次数多不多，口号听起来漂亮不漂亮，都不是判断社会状况的唯一标准。真正重要的是，制度能不能在现实中解决问题，权力能不能受到约束，人民能不能在具体事件里感受到尊重和保障。这期内容给我们的最大启示，也许就是先查证再下结论。面对关于中国、美国以及世界任何地方的消息，都不要因为它符合自己的立场就立刻相信，也不要因为它来自自己不喜欢的阵营就立刻否定。去看原始资料，去找当地人的讲述，去比较不同媒体的说法，去区分事实、推测与情绪。尤其要警惕那些把世界切割成绝对的好人与坏人的叙事，因为现实从来不会如此整齐。中美两国真正需要的，不是让普通人彼此恐惧，而是让更多人有机会接触真实、具体、多面的对方。合作不等于放弃原则，批评也不等于敌视对方。一个成熟的社会应该允许人们讨论问题，也应该鼓励人们在讨论之前先了解问题。一个成熟的国际关系也应该承认差异，控制冲突，同时寻找双方都能受益的空间。当我们放下被反复灌输的刻板印象，重新观察身边的人和事，也许会发现国家之间虽然存在竞争，但普通人之间依然可以交流、合作，甚至成为朋友。愿我们保留判断力，也保留理解他人的能力，既不盲目相信任何一方，也不轻易把整个国家和普通民众混为一谈。感谢您的收看，欢迎在评论区分享您对中美关系、媒体叙事和真正的自由的看法，也欢迎点赞订阅，继续观看更多精彩视频。